Hello everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys a first-person replay commentary. I am playing my new favorite hero. His name is Timbersaw. I haven't actually felt attached to a hero in a really long time, but I love the crap out of Timbersaw right now. I've actually been playing him quite a bit in the last week. He recently got a buff. Let me pull that up really quick, so I wanted to talk about this quite a bit. Playdota.com, and if we open up the changelog from there, you can look exactly to see what Timbersaw got buffed. I know his mana cost for Chakram was reduced. Oops, Timber space saw? Timber? What is this? Alright, I know he was buffed. What is he called in Dota 1? Is it something different? Am I crazy? Goblin Shredder, there it is. Alright, that's why I'm confused. Okay. Base strength was increased by 3. That means an increase of 38 plus 19, which is 57 HP. There you go. Oh my god. So 57 HP increase at level 1, which is pretty big. 57 HP increase at level 1. His int growth is increased from 1.8 to 2.4, so he has more mana now. His Chakram initial mana cost is now 75 at level 1 instead of 125, which is a huge difference. And his Chakram movement speed is made increased by 100. So pretty huge buffs to the hero. I'll talk about that in just a second. Oops. There we go. Okay, so I'm playing Timbersaw. I'm playing with Blitz, EGM, Boomy, and Sheever. So a bunch of cool people. I am going for a carry Timbersaw this game. Before I get to anything else, by the way, I just wrote a Timbersaw guide and I put it up on the Steam store, so I'm going to link that in the drop-down box below. If you guys want to go look at that and favorite it or whatever, that way the next time you guys play Timbersaw, you can look at my build. I just made it just so that you guys could easily have access to that in-game. Okay, so a little bit about Timbersaw. I've made one Timbersaw video before. I made it when he just came out, and I think I was like 3 games deep on the hero, and this is before the buffs. He was recently buffed in 6.78b because nobody actually played him. But to talk about the hero a bit, his int has been increased. His int gain has been increased, that is. 2.4 int gain, 2.1 strength gain. So now his int gain is actually his best stat. Previously it was his strength gain. So he is a strength hero. My starting item build's a little different than what I recommended, and it was because of this game. I think Stout Shield is 100% mandatory on Timbersaw. His base armor is really low. It stacks really well with reactive armor. I'll talk about reactive armor in a bit. But rather than getting these 2 extra Ironwood branches here, this should be 1 extra Tango. I think when you play Timbersaw, I recommend going 2 Tangos, 1 Salve, Stout Shield, and 1 Ironwood branch. Most of the time that I've been playing Timbersaw in the last week has actually been an off lane, and I learned a lot about off lane Timbersaw, but this game is a safe lane, which means that I should be able to be more greedy and build a fast bloodstone. So I can talk about bloodstone later. So let's talk about the skills quick. First skill is Whirling Death. This does an AoE around you. It kind of looks like Slark's Dark Pact, where it does like a overtime damage ability, but in reality, as soon as you cast it, it does this explosion of spinning blades, and that's when it does its damage. So you can't really like cast it and walk into somebody. You have to be on top of them when it gets casted, so keep that in mind. Really important. Second skill, oh yeah, by the way, this also reduces stats by 15%, I believe. Loses some of its primary attribute. So if you cast this on a hero, it's going to reduce their primary attribute by 15, which means like against an agility hero, it's going to reduce their agility, which means their damage gets reduced by a bit. So this can be used for reducing damage. Against strength heroes, it makes them less tanky and reduces their damage, which is pretty cool. Int heroes reduces their mana pool, etc. So it's, I don't know what the duration is, 7 seconds on that. So pretty cool. Very good against tanky heroes because it reduces their stats. So second skill is Timber Chain. This is like a... If you guys have ever played Legend of Zelda, it's like hookshot basically. You hookshot to a tree, and then you fly towards the tree, and anybody that you connect with on the way to the tree, you'll do some pure damage to them, basically. I don't think it does anything else fancy. Yeah, just pure damage, the speed increases with the levels, and the range, most important, that goes up a lot. Mana cost does increase, but the cooldown is the same at all levels, actually. Oh shoot, I gotta fix that. I wrote that the cooldown scaled on my guide, but I have to fix that. I used my spin there to get the last hit because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get it otherwise. And every last hit's pretty important in the early game. Third skill is reactive armor. This one's a little bit more complicated, but basically the way it works is... am I on... Okay, I think we're good. We're using game source. Alright, cool. If you take an attack, you get a stack of reactive armor. If you guys look right here, you can see the stacks. I have 4 stacked at the moment. If you take a creep hit, if you take a hero hit, it doesn't really matter what it is. But if you take a hit, you get a stack of reactive armor. So that means that for every stack of reactive armor, you get 1 armor for 16 seconds, and you get 1 HP regen per second for that 16 seconds. So if anybody attacks you, after 16 seconds, you will have healed 16 HP worth of that. Now this can be a little bit got around. We were trying to set up this kill here, but Shiver did a little sloppy. You can get around this by, if you damage block it, like for example, if creep does 18 damage and you block 20 of it, you take 0 damage and you get 16 HP healed from it. So if you grab a stout shield, this is why it's so good. You can block a little bit of creep damage, you can get your stacks up to 4, and you can heal a total of 4 times 16, which is like what? 6 times 4 is 24, so it's like 64 HP, something like that. So basically, if you get up to 4 stacks, you can get 64 HP from it. The reason I grabbed it so early against the Weaver is because I knew we probably weren't going to kill. Timbersaw's not that good pre-6. He's pretty hard to get kills with. Mostly you should just be focused on getting last hits, which is kind of what I ended up doing. And pretty much every time I play Timbersaw, I end up doing this. I mostly just focus on getting last hits and staying alive and trying to keep my HP up, using reactive armor and going through tangos. As you guys can see here, even with reactive armor, I burned through my tangos already. And the main reason that I think you should get extra tangos is because the first item that you should buy on Timbersaw is Arcane Boots, guaranteed. Arcane Boots first, Ring of Health second, and most heroes that end up laning, you usually aim for your HP regen first. But on a hero like Timbersaw, I think the mana is just so important that you absolutely have to go Arcane first. So having an extra tango will help you go a little bit farther and make sure that you end up getting to your Arcane Boots without immediately needing to go back to base, because that's really important because you lose the XP that way. So maxing Timber Chain is usually what I do second. In this game, I think I ended up going for 2 Whirling Deaths early. The reason I did this is because I was in a safe lane. If I'm in an off lane, I always max Timber Chain first because I want that range to be maxed out first. Because if you're not long enough range, like for example, you see the distance between the trees here. If I'm sitting by the tier 3 or the tier 1 tower here and I need to escape to these trees, I might not be within range, and that could get me killed. So generally what I like to do is max out Whirling Death a little earlier. I think that's the right choice. Wait, I'm sorry, did I say that right? If I'm in a difficult lane and I'm scared about dying, I will max out Timber Chain first because I want the extra range. If I'm in a safe lane like this, I'm okay grabbing Whirling Death just because it's a little bit better for last hitting, basically. Because I'm more likely to use it for last hitting, essentially. It does scale a little bit better between a 1 and 2. You get an extra 10 damage, so hypothetically you could look at that as well. Though the mana cost is like, I guess they scale about the same, 10 mana per level, so yeah, basically I want to use it for last hitting. If I was in an off lane though, I'd have 1, 2, 1 right now, and I'd be maxing Timber Chain first. I think after this point I ended up maxing out Timber Chain, but I just felt like getting a second level Whirling Death just because it's a little bit better for last hitting, basically. That's the only reason I deviated. So, anyways, I have the money for Arcane Boots now. Gonna be able to pick those up. My mana pool is now a lot higher. Again, my mana gain, or my int gain is really good. It was buffed recently.
Missing bot?
But other than that, the extra mana pool is really helpful. It's actually also great to have this with 2 supports in your lane, because if they ever want mana, they can just kind of come into my lane, and I can give them mana. Reactive armor is so good, because now I'm sitting at 5 armor. Any damage I take after the stacks is pretty heavily reduced. So in late game situations, when you actually have more levels of reactive armor, it allows you to have more max stacks. You can stack up to 16. See right there, I got 3 last hits because I had Whirling Death, for example. It's nice in a safe farm when you're under tower. Late game, it's actually pretty good to tank creeps for a bit before you dive, because you can get your armor up to 16 as you get ready to initiate. Shiver's Sentry is a little late again there, so not able to get the kill. But we probably should have killed the Weaver at least twice by now. It's not the end of the world though, because I'm pretty darn used to playing Timbersaw, like I said, in the off lane, because I played him like 4 or 5 games, 6 games in the off lane, just to try him out, and I got pretty good at knowing when you're strongest. And basically, Timbersaw is by far strongest when he hits level 6. Because of, I did mention that Chakram's mana cost at level 1 has gone down a lot. It used to be 125, now it's only 75, which is a huge, huge difference. And if we talk about how Whirling Death works, you throw out a little Chakram, and as it flies, if it passes through somebody, they take 100 pure damage. I tried to harass him there, but I messed that up. So as it flies through somebody, it takes 100 damage. You can choose to bring the Chakram back, and if it passes through somebody, as it passes back, it does another 100 damage. So basically what you can do is you can throw it out for 75 mana, it can pass through an enemy, and you can immediately pull it back, and it does a total of 200, not magic damage, but pure damage. And just to get a little bit of idea about how much damage that is, typical magic resistance is 25%. At a base level. The only hero that has more than that at a base level without skills is actually, see, here's the Chakram. See, I just passed through him for 200 magic damage, and that cost me 75. And what's the cooldown? Frickin' 8 seconds. So good. It's another number I need to fix in the guide. So look at that. 2 harasses, I spent 150 mana, and I already did 400 pure damage to this guy. And I might be able to kill him. We'll see. Alright, yeah, that was really weird. I don't know why he did that, but he just stayed around way too long. So really easy kill on him. The radius is okay. If you want, guys, you can leave the chakram out, which basically means that it will just sit there. If you just let it sit there, it does 50 damage per second at level 1, and it slows 5% per 5% HP missing. So to explain that a bit, I'll talk about pure damage in a bit some more. But the way that chakram works is, if they're missing 50% health, they'll be slowed by 50%. If they're missing 80% health, they'll be slowed by 80%, which is a huge slow. So that basically means that when they're really low, you can get a better chance at killing them. I'm going to do some pure damage to this guy. He's going to dive me slightly. I do have a ring of health, though, so I'm pretty survivable. I was looking to see if he was going to go hard on me, but if he was, then I have ways to try to kill him. We have an OD coming as well, so I'm going to try to butter him up a little bit. I still have a pretty okay mana pool. Still kind of looking for openings. I was able to dodge the ulti, luckily. I really kind of wanted to go in the OD, but with this haste rune, it's a little hard.
The Dire best do something about that bottom tower. No breaking through the Dire structures for now.
This is the point where I found out that if you do that, you appear to the right. So I was pretty happy about that. If I was actually above by the tower here, I would have been out of position and possibly would have died. But since they're diving at the haste rune, I just wanted to play safe for a bit. So Arcanes to go back up. We'll see the OD back mid, so now we can go back to a normal laning setup. I think was when I already realized. And Chakram again, 200 pure damage, pretty good stuff. Like, you are so strong at level 6, and that's why you pick up the Arcane Boots, because you go from being a really, really passive laner to being really aggressive. That as soon as you get enough mana pool, you want to go for the kills, basically. Or at least you want to, like, put him into an area where he's going to have to make a decision, or gives you a chance to dive. Like, you can dive pre-6 if you want, but more often than not, I just messed up and I would end up feeding. It's best to play really, really passive until you hit 6, get them to about half HP, and then you try to dive them. And using all of your skills together, you should be able to get a kill. So I think that's by far the best way to play him, personally, after playing him a bunch of games. He's really, really good at 6. His ability to harass is so easy. I could also gank with this if I want. I should be carrying a TP scroll, I think, but I actually don't have one picked up, so a small mistake for me. So from here, you want to max out Whirling Death, because having these 2 skills maxed out pretty early is really helpful. Having more levels of reactive armor is great and all, but just by having 1 level and a ring of health, you shouldn't have any mana problems, honestly. So I need to talk more about pure damage. Almost all of Timbersaw's abilities are pure damage. The only ability of his that isn't always pure is Whirling Death. If you don't cut down trees while you use this spell, then it does magical damage. So the only way that you can do magic damage with this hero is with your first skill. And this might make some of his values look really crappy. Like, for example, Timber Chain only does 220, and Whirling Death only does 250 MX, and Chakram only does 200 damage. But since it's pure, that means it scales really well late game. And if you guys don't understand why, it's because people buy hoods late game. They'll have things like Flesh Heap. They'll have higher armor values. If this did physical damage, it would scale really bad late. If it does magic damage, it's okay early, but it could be better. I mean, look how low this guy just got with a little spin. I couldn't believe he sat here. I was so confused. I was like, what is this idiot doing? And I just did a blind spin and I got him. That was really stupid of him. Like, I have way too much damage for him to just, like, play it a little too dangerously like that. He just doesn't have the regen, basically, to stay in lane. And pretty much in all cases of me playing Timber Chain, I can get outlaned for the first couple levels in terms of last hits, but as soon as I hit 6, nobody can stand in a lane against you. It's not possible. Even a hero like Huskar, who has a big lane advantage pre-6, as soon as I hit 6, I can kill just about anybody in a lane. And it makes him feel really overpowered to me, which is part of the reason I'm sure why I like playing him. I was thinking about TPing bot, so we're going to bring a TP scroll here.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
Really didn't want to dive before I finished my Void Stone here. I think there's a lot of action going on bot that I should probably show up to. It's really important you kill that, by the way, because you want to make sure that the minus armor that you're receiving goes away. I should have TP'd for that like 5 seconds before, I think. Especially when your armor's this low, make sure that you kill the bugs as fast as possible. So yeah, pure damage is really good. Let's talk about magic damage on typical values. A pretty typical magic nuke is about 300. So that means that if a pretty typical magic nuke is 300 and that's reduced by 25%, that means that every 100 points of magic damage is reduced by 25, about. If you don't have a cloak or any innate magic resistance. I'm again going to harass this guy because it's very inexpensive, 200 more damage done. So a 300 damage nuke actually only does 225 damage. He was able to dodge with the
That's four
I
in
maybe
a
should have
row.
left that up. I'm not completely sure. I didn't know where he was going there, so I couldn't continue to dive. Otherwise, I would have.
That's
But again,
four
I
in a
forced him out of
row.
lane. All right, time to show up.
5 in a row. 2 down.
Assassins never die. They just
That's 4 in a row. 2 down.
Pretty low in mana now. I probably should have timber chained to that tree. I think that would have been good. So right here, I want to leave the timber chain down because it's slowing them a whole lot.
My heart.
We're gonna get the gem.
Where do you think you're
But again,
going?
really, really low on mana. Kind of looking for a ulti opportunity. He used track here, so we're a lot faster now.
You're safe.
I wanted to block him a bit so he couldn't get away very far by the time we were going for the kill.
5 in a row.
And I got a mega kill. So my TP there was huge. I was able to kill the Ricky. I was able to kill the OD, all that stuff. So yeah, talking about magic values again. It basically does the same as a regular nuke. But the cool part is that there's no way for them to reduce it. The only way for them to reduce the damage that I do is to increase their total HP number, because they can't reduce the magic. They could get I think they can get, is it magical based ability, point target, magical. I don't know if BKB will protect them from this. I think Ghost Scepter might. I'm not completely sure. But I just finished a 14 minute Bloodstone, basically, which is ridiculously fast. So I haven't always gotten Bloodstone on Timbersaw. This is the first time I got Bloodstone on Timbersaw after playing him like 5 or 6 times. But I had a good time with it this game. Want to get closer a little faster here. I missed the Chakram back on that, and I'm pretty low in mana now, so... So yeah, basically all of your nukes do a lot of damage, and they will stay that way for the rest of the game. I also hit level 11, so now my Chakram does more damage. This looks a little scary for me. It's okay, guys, though. I have Timber Chain.
Dire might want to mine the top tower.
But yeah, this is the first time I got Bloodstone since playing him a lot off lane, and gives me a ton of mana regen.
You know the drill.
Smoke was really annoying this game.
6 in a row. Dire's top tower's getting beat down. Somebody's on the roll. Dire's lost the top tower. That's 4 in a row.
It was so
2
good.
down.
Got a lot of Bloodstone charges as well now. I mean, that slow is just fantastic. When they're low HP, you just leave it on them. Let it sit, it'll do some damage, but most importantly, it'll slow them enough to set up another kill. So I'm up to 12 Bloodstone charges. Oh, you can actually use this to kill yourself now, which I completely forgot about like the whole game. I almost never built Bloodstone, but I completely forgot about it all game. But if you know you're gonna die, you can activate it to kill yourself, and I believe you lose less charges if you kill yourself.
Radiant's mid tower
So,
could use a hand.
pretty cool. Yeah, snowballing off of this much EXP is really, really useful. If we look at my EXP per minute, I'm surely at the top, yeah, because I've been around so many kills. This helps out a ton because it by far scales up your damage. Like, just having the Bloodstone kind of gives me my core item build. It gives me enough to stay alive for quite a while. Oh wow, he really followed me for a long time. Ricky did, I think. Maybe not. This much mana per second is huge, though. All the other games that I played Timbersaw, I would be sitting about like 4 mana per second, something like that. Wow, he really did follow me a really long time. Yeah, it was a diffusal blade.
7 in mid tower could use a little help.
He was invisible at that point. I should have used Timber Chain to go to the tree to my right, and I might have been able to kill Ricky. But his damage is really, really high to my back. I was able to hit level 15 from the Dazzle kill, but I just respawned because of the Bloodstone charges, so on the bright side. I was trying to figure out what to buy, and obviously Ricky was the problem. I purchased a Ghost Scepter. I actually think this was a mistake, thinking back to it. Ghost Scepter doesn't scale into any other items, so in some ways it kind of delays your core, first of all. That's the first problem with it. Number 2 is he has a Diffusal Blade, which means that if I use Ghost Scepter, he can diffuse off the Ghost Scepter immediately. So in some ways it still is prevents me from being strong. Prior to this moment, I was talking a little bit about just picking up like a Radiance maybe, because I'm so far ahead from snowball kills that it's possible that I could just go for a damage item. It's very uncommon to actually have this much farm. Like, it's honestly a little silly how farmed I am. and I was able to pick up the kill by getting a little closer here. The mana regen right here is so good. Every other Timbersaw game, I can't be as active because I didn't go Bloodstone. The reason I'm not quite sure yet if Bloodstone all the time is the right thing. I haven't played that many Timbersaw games where I got super behind. Most of the time when I played them offlane, I didn't have wards, so they were pulling and stuff, so I was like slightly at a disadvantage, but I'm not so sure if Bloodstone is always the right choice. And in safe farm, I think it's absolutely the right choice. After playing this game, my mana regen was just so high that it allowed me to farm really fast, but I don't know if that's always the right decision. So I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll have to play him another offlane game. But I think if you're offlaning behind, your best bet is probably Arcane Boots Wand with a pipe. I think. I don't know for sure though. It's a little tough to actually spin through that. Again, make sure to remember that this is like an instant cast. So as you're timber chaining through, you have to cast it right when you go through them. It takes a little bit of practice, but once you get down, it gives you a lot more kill potential. But at this point, my mana regen is so high, like 20 mana per second, and I have pretty darn good HP regen as well. Once your mana regen gets this high, it's pretty easy to just constantly cast in team fights. You just basically, every time your spells are off cooldowns, you cast them. 8 seconds on Whirling Death, 4 seconds on Timber Chain, and 6 seconds on Chakram. Like, you just gotta, or 8 seconds on Chakram, sorry. You just gotta basically cast constantly. But yeah, I think Ghost Scepter was the wrong choice. What I think I should have gotten instead was a plate mail. If I grab a plate mail, it gives me 10 armor, and the important part is that, like, the reason I died to Ricky so fast, despite having reactive armor leveled up, my armor was really low when he started attacking me. I only had like 3 charges on me, which basically meant that I kind of needed to have like, I needed some base armor to keep me alive to ramp while my reactive armor ramped up, and Ricky just hits really hard with every hit. So if I start with this really low armor total, if I only had like 5 armor right here, and he just starts wailing on me for full damage, he would do exponentially less damage basically, but I need a bigger brunt at the top. And since Ghost Scepter could be countered, if, like, for example, if I wasn't greedy, like, I had the money for a plate mail when I was bought there, I can pretty much guarantee that if I had a plate mail when those 2 jumped on me, I wouldn't have died. I definitely would have killed both of them, or at least I would have gotten out with maybe killing just Dazzle. But it was, like, super panic before. If I just would have bought a plate mail, if I was, like, that far ahead in a normal situation, I should have just bought a plate mail, because it would have helped a ton against the Ricky Maru. So, that could have prevented my 1 death, I think. I could have also suicided, but I was mostly flustered. So, but yeah, now that I have all this Bloodstone mana, I can basically just jungle like this. All of my spells are AoE. They do pure damage, which doesn't matter. Actually, pure damage versus neutrals is not good, because neutrals don't have any magic resistance, so actually a magic nuke does more to neutrals than my pure damage does. But I have so many AoE attacks. I have 3 AoE attacks at tiny cooldowns, and I have so much mana regen that it doesn't matter. I can literally just hit up the jungle and farm insanely fast. And I don't even have to worry about walking from camp to camp, because I have Timber Chain to get me from camp to camp. I can cut holes in trees to get to camps faster. Like, if I want to farm this camp above me, I just have to throw my Chakram above, and then I can Timber Chain to one of the trees, and I can be there instantly. So his ability to farm fast is ridiculous with the Bloodstone. I was really impressed this game. So yeah, I think if you're ahead or you're breaking even, you could go Bloodstone in the offlane. You might have to grab a cloak against some users. Like, I played a game against a Zeus, and I really felt like I needed a cloak that game, because I only had like 1,200 HP or something, and his nukes just did too much. So I felt like I needed a hood that game. But I'm not completely sure yet. Like, your ability to farm jungle camps gets absolutely insane, that you can pretty much play like a carry. It might just be because I'm snowballing this game, but his magic, his nukes are really impressive, so I'm not completely sold on it just yet. So Ghost Scepter's picked up. Next item I want is either a tank item or a damage item. Probably my Ghost Scepter here. It's been a really good time to suicide with Bloodstone, but I didn't do it. Kind of felt like I got ditched by my team, but basically what happened was we got separated and banished, and there was a tower between us. I think we just weren't quite strong enough there. I end up respawning again. So I lost my bloodstone charges again. I have to reset, but it's not that bad. That basically loses me 4 mana per second. Not a problem at all. I'm pretty much back up alive instantly, so I didn't realize that he was still killing, so I just TP'd box. I was like, okay, he's dead. Alright, so I pick up a Sacred Relic here. This is a extremely situational pickup. I do not recommend this item build every time. The only reason that I'm going for this item build is because I'm like really far ahead. I'm like really far ahead in terms of gold. Like my EXP per minute is huge. My GPM is probably ridiculous as well. He's still fighting. I just left him. Like my GPM is at 560 right now because I can basically farm waves insanely fast. I can kill this wave instantly and then I can go into the jungle. So I pick up a Relic because I wanted to pick up a Radiance, basically. I wanted to really increase my damage output, and I looked through the item list, and I think most of the items really don't fit. Almost all of the items that you could buy for a damage item are not good. And the reason is, when you throw out Chakram, you actually can't physically attack. It disarms you. So you can't just like throw Chakram and right-click somebody to death, which basically means that some of the time while you're team fighting, you actually can't right-click. So grabbing an item like an Abyssal Blade or a Monkey King Bar or something like that is absolutely not worth it in most cases. If you grab a Radiance though, you can do AoE magic damage while you're diving, while you're standing next to people, while you throw out the Chakram. It all still goes. So this is a very situational case where I think Radiance is absolutely the right choice, but mostly just because I'm so far ahead. So this allows me to pick up my Radiance. I farmed that like ridiculously fast. It was so easy. I kind of wanted to send that back since finishing Radiance is a big deal, but here's a cool way. I don't know if I Timber chained up for this. Doesn't look like I did. There we go. So you can do that. I could have done that from the low ground without running all the way around. So I buy a TP and my Radiance recipe. My HP is really good right now, 2000 HP. I should be by far the highest level in the game. Hero level? Yeah, I'm level 18, so my damage output is basically constant from here on out, excluding how I use my items. So Radiance is finished. I still have brown boots, by the way. I disassembled my arcane boots to make the bloodstone. This is the right choice to do. I don't think upgrading your boots from here on out is worth it. I'm not completely sold on this just yet, but this game I really felt like brown boots was the right choice. See if I can go save anybody. Ah, slow's so good. So we're able to clear up the 2 guys that dove a little too far. Losing a Bounty Hunter Revenge for that is completely worth it, in my opinion. So, more Bloodstone charges. Mana regens up to like 19. But honestly, just the base Bloodstone alone is so much. Gives, what, 200% mana regen? And how much per charge? I think 1. 1 mana regen per second. So, yeah. Definitely nice to have. Just the Bloodstone alone, honestly, I just felt completely content.
Dire's top tower's getting beat down.
So, next items after this. Brown boots I think are fine. Your movement speed is actually really low base. He has a 290 movement speed, which means percentage-based mana regen items aren't that good.
You know the drill.
Always look for trees like that. You can always get places a little bit faster if you need to.
The Dire might want to mine that top tower.
Oh, Radiant's so good. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, brown boots. You could get phase. I think phase are vaguely okay in this situation. Downside is that your casts are pretty common, so in most cases, phase boots won't be used for long. Because at maximum, you're going to be casting, I don't know. They're all such low cooldowns that it's pretty simple. What am I buying here? I think I'm just opening an item space or something. I'm not sure. Oh yeah, what do I have coming? Plate mail? Okay, plate mail. So this increases my armor by a lot, increases my survivability against the Riki. It doesn't do that much against the OD, because OD does magic damage with his ulti, and his orb does pure damage, so the only way to protect against that is HP. Or evasion, I guess. Plate mail's a good pickup. I'm going to build this into a Shiva's Guard. Shiva's Guard is a fantastic Timbersaw item for the fact that... Again, I'm going to cut down the tree. Oops, I actually missed it. Missed the tree, guys. There we go. Alright, I'll go high ground, another not there. The reason Shiva's Guard is really good, more mana pool. This gives a lot of percentage-based mana regen, so increasing my int with a Mystic Staff is really useful. And also the active, which is reduces attack speed of enemy heroes, and also the magic damage is really useful. This is a little crazy.
Dire's mid tower keeps the hell.
That's a good stun from Shiver.
Dire's bottom tower's getting the business.
Barely able to survive that fight.
Not so fast.
Had to be really careful here. I had to Ghost Scepter to stop Dazzle from auto-attacking me so much. And now with my huge mana regen, I just have to like look for a Chakram. Alright, got him. So yeah, just play really safe like that. I tanked a lot of damage, but then I got pretty low and I had to run away pretty continuously, so. And you'll probably watch me pick up some. I didn't. I was like, maybe I'll pick up reactive armor to heal up faster. Didn't do it. I should have, though. I should have just stood there for a second, let all the creeps hit me. I was so focused on farming that I just like didn't even think about it. But my HP regen is pretty good here. I should just tank up to 16 stacks and then kill the waves and continue on my way to hit full HP a little bit faster. But it's gonna be fine. So Shiva's guard next. Brown boots are still fine. I don't really feel like I'm having mobility issues. Like, again, most of Timbersaw's movement is not based off of just walking. It is a part of it, but it's not a huge part of it. And there we go, I'm up to 16 HP now, or charges. He has really, really big armor when all its reactive armor. If you guys haven't noticed yet, look at his hero model, by the way. He has this like little metal plate that comes over his face. If it's all the way down, that means his stacks are full. If it's it has like a 4-level increment as well based on the level, so it's pretty cool. That's a BKB and OD and a Manta for TA. So the BKB and OD is kind of a problem because I shouldn't be able to do pure damage through that if I'm not mistaken.
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
Oh, a hero that Timbersaw is really good at against right now is Huskar. I'm sure you guys have been a little plagued by playing against Huskars lately, but basically Huskar now has huge magic resistance when he gets low HP, but guess what goes right through magic resistance? It's pure damage. So if Huskar gets low and you guys have a Timbersaw, you can just cast your spells on him and he'll die. It'll do like pure damage to him, so goes right through, no problem at all. So Timbersaw is kind of a hard counter to low HP Huskar right now. So there we go. Shiva's guard is finished. This gives me a guaranteed plus 15 armor. It reduces my opponent's attack speed by 40, which is huge, and plus 30 intelligence as well. So my mana regen goes up by about 7 extra or something like that because of this 200% mana regen, which is based off of my int number. So my int is much higher. This means that OD's ulti is going to do less damage to me, and also it's going to give me an AoE 200 damage slow, which reduces movement by 40% for 4 seconds. So basically, as I initiate, if I'm in the middle of the pack, I just pop it, it'll group out, slow all those heroes down, and should give my team a little bit better chance of winning. So now we will farm the enemy jungle. That looked like a glitch. Man, Radiance does increase the farm rate a lot, though. I was really impressed by it.
That's 4 to roll. How about that?
Missing middle.
I threw the Chakram first just because I figured I could stack the damage a little higher. It's better if you put all the bursts in like one little point of time. That way there's less reaction time. If I would have Timber Chain in first and then Chakrammed and spun, I think the damage wouldn't have been quite as extreme. But we were able to burst him down. And this is the part where I had a great time doing some damage to Roshan. Take that, Roshan.
Roche won't be stomped around no more thanks to the Dire.
Just a straight tree killer. I think this is, I wanted to buy Boots of Travel at this point.
You know the drill.
I figured it could be more mobile, number one. Number two, I wanted the extra movement speed. It's actually really, in a way, really cost efficient for movement speed at this point. If I compare this to a Yasha, a lot of people buy Yasha for movement speed, right? Well, Boots of Travel gives you 100 movement speed and compared to a Boots 50. So basically, so Boots does 50, Boots of Travel, I believe, does 100. So I'm increasing my movement speed by 50 for a 2,000 gold item. Yep, 100 movement speed. So basically, to increase my movement speed by this is a drum on me. Maybe I'll talk about this later. So we watch the team fight. Use my Shivas. My reactive armor's stacking up a bit. That was the best Chakram I've ever seen.
You're safe.
I think I was playing a little too safe here. Man, I was really fast on the track. So to increase my movement speed by 50, when you think about movement speed, I'm still not done. When you think about movement speed increasing abilities, the percentage increase is based on your base movement. So since I have a low base movement, like a Yasha for example increases your movement speed by like 12. That means it would have increased my movement speed by like 33 or something, or like 36. So basically, Boots of Travel is cheaper than a Yasha, doesn't take up an item slot, and it actually increases my movement speed by a lot. So it's actually really, really good. I missed the tree there, which I wish I would have snagged it. Maybe could have gotten a kill. They're having a lot of trouble controlling us right now.
Six in a row.
Taking quite a bit of damage here. Summon a ghost.
Safe word.
Got pretty low, almost died to Ricky. I haven't really been able to get a whole lot of reactive armor stacked up this game. I've only seen it about like 7 or 8. If I tank creeps a little bit more before I go in, it really does help a lot. They all died to the fountain. Diving. And then we're like, okay, well I guess we'll take the racks while you're all dead. I have a lot of bloodstone charges now too. Done 19. I have 35 mana per second. It's just so good.
It's done.
I was gonna TP back to base. And then Shiver fucking swapped me. I was so mad. I was like, Shiver, what the fuck? She didn't know I was gonna TP though. This should be on cooldown as well. Oh, maybe it doesn't until... What if I gotta use this to TP back? Usually these share the same cooldown, because otherwise you could have 2 teleports. You could teleport back to base and then teleport back again, which would be overpowered for a common item.
Radiant's mid tower's getting banged up.
I think I was picking up my heart next. At this point, I basically decided, like, I'm pretty tanky and I have good items and all, but I felt like I needed more survivability in raw HP. Like, I almost died in the last fight, and I've got okay HP regen, but it's really not that high. I'm at like what 13.1 or something like that. It's okay, but it's not that great. Getting more reactive armor from the dragon, but it's pretty slow. I think the biggest thing that I should have done more this game, when watching it, is that if I'm low HP, I should let them stack more armor on me before I kill all the units. Should definitely do that. I don't know if it might not even pay off long term, but I guess with the higher armor, it probably does. But I definitely like constantly killed all this stuff. It's so easy to kill the neutrals though, guys. This is definitely the most outrageous Timbersaw game I had, though. Getting a ton of farm. I think I maybe should have been a bit more aggressive in the last fight. I'm not completely sure.
Radiant's mid tower's getting what for?
That gave me a lot of stacks, actually. I'm up to like 13 now. I believe he's teleporting. So it looks like there's a fight about to start. I would have teleported, but none of the creeps are there, so it's gonna wait for the next wave to go. So in the meantime, might as well push. And then we saw Dooney die for free.
Radiant's top tower's hurting.
At this point, it looked like they were just dying, so I decided not to go.
Radiant's top tower's in bad shape.
Figured I'll just take a tower instead. I'm really hard to kill anyways, and this should give me my heart.
One last top tower for the Radiant.
Another item you can get if you really want to be a little bit more survivable is Blade Mail. Well, not more survivable, but do more damage. I thought Blade Mail was pretty good. The reason Blade Mail is pretty cool is because you're generally going to have a lot of HP anyways from bloodstone and things like that. So you're gonna take damage, you're gonna tank damage, and when you do that, you might as well have blade mail is pretty nice to be able to just turn that on as you initiate, and if you do reflect some damage, it can be quite nice. So I opted for a. I didn't actually get a blade mail this game, but a lot of the other games that I played, blade mail was picked up just because you're gonna be able to reflect some damage output that way. Got a lot of CS this game. So easy to farm the jungle with this guy once you have a bloodstone. And I basically don't have to be concerned with mana anymore, so. So, there we go. Heart should be finished. I now have 3,600 HP. My armor doesn't look that great with 8 plus 15, but once I get the reactive armor stacks up a little bit, it ends up being a lot higher. I even thought about maybe grabbing an extra armor item like an AC or something, but I'm not really sure if that's worth it. I wasn't sure if they were over here, so I actually chakrammed for vision. It actually only gives vision as it lands, so that wasn't even that constructive, but we didn't really know where their team setup was, so. But now we do. Just a blink dagger on bounty hunter. Totally normal. Timbersaw actually has a lot of trouble going high ground as well, but it's a lot better now that Chakram is low mana cost. Like, this should be your main damage dealer at all cases of the team fight. I got a lot better at the hero when I stopped focusing on Timberchain and Whirling Death so much, and I started focusing on Chakram. Once you focus on Chakram and you get kills that way, you're going to end up playing a lot better. I'm basically looking to just constantly work people down with my cooldown of Chakram, and then if I need to get in melee range, I can do Whirling Death or set up for a Timberchain. It's made me a lot better player. When you get out of position like that, just Timberchain out. I opted to go on the supports here. And now there's like gems all over. I actually did get full reactive armor out of that fight, so. At that point, it didn't really matter if they had BKBs. Like, them killing me was not going to happen, and I can very, very easily kill their supports. There's like no possible way that their supports can touch me anymore. So.
Radiant's mid tower's coming apart. Radiant's mid tower ain't doing so good.
I wanted to finish my items here.
Use a hand.
My items being, I wanted to get an ethereal blade before the game ended.
Tower's getting the what for?
Can I make it?
Radiant's ancient has taken a beating. Hate to be in there chalk it up.
I was so sad. I almost made it. So close. So. No ethereal blade for me, but best Timbersaw game of my life. Felt good, felt really good. But that's a safe lane. You should be able to snowball off a farm a little bit. You have to get kills in the mid game though. You can't just literally farm the whole time. It doesn't pay off that way. But I was able to gank and get a triple kill. I got a mega kill from it. I got the 2 kills top, and then I got the 3 kills when I TP'd the tier 2 on the OD Ricky. And getting that extra experience really helped me do more damage. I ended up hitting 25 like way before this game ended. I got a lot of last hits by far, and a decent item progression. Again, I wish I would have gotten a plate mail immediately instead of the Ghost Scepter. That would have been smart. Like, even grabbing a Radiance with just a Bloodstone is not tanky enough against a Ricky that actually has Diffusal Blade. Like, he had Diffusal Blade when I was considering buying a Relic in like 1800 gold, and I should have just purchased a plate mail there, because I would have guaranteed that I probably didn't die that first time, and maybe that would have guaranteed that I didn't die the second time. You never really know. So I think my item build could have been slightly better. I think my skill build is correct. But yeah, basically just hit level 6 and use all the EXP to harass. Once you hit level 6, you can throw chakrams for pretty inexpensive. It's only 75 mana, so throw it constantly. Pull it back as soon as it hits them, because they're unlikely to stand in the same spot, and you're better off just to pull it back. If you guys don't know how the spin works, it does 50 DPS per second, or damage per second. So that means that if it's it does half of the spin or the pullback total, I believe. So if you leave it there, it'd have to stay there for 2 seconds before you pull back for it to be worth it. So it's generally best to just throw it and pull it back in the early game, because it's only 75 mana. So that's Timbersaw. He's awesome. He's my new favorite hero. Again, I wrote a guide for him in game, so if you guys want to play Timbersaw and you need all my recommended items and stuff, the situational items list is huge. And again, I'm not really sure if going Bloodstone first in the offlane is the right choice. I think if you're behind, you should just go like Arcane Pipe probably, but if you're doing okay or ahead, you should probably go Bloodstone, just because the extra mana regen really helps you farm a lot and gives you more casts in a team fight. So Bloodstone is very good on hero, and make sure to sacrifice yourself, like use the active if you're gonna die, unlike me. So a couple of mistakes there. I could have played it better, but as a whole, I was really happy with that game. And that's Timbersaw. So thanks everyone for watching. I'm sure you'll see me play him on stream some days. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.